Hi everybody. This is Dave Wolf, and this is Hive Minds Productions broadcast. Been a bit of a delay with today's show, trying to get new guests upon this new server, and still struggling to get guests really. It comes with with the fact that this is a brand new thing and a brand new show that I'm trying to put together as a bit of a slapdash effort to try to red pill people, to get people to wake up to the facts of reality and the facts of life and the facts that have been hidden from us for so long. So I thought I'd start this one with a basic introduction of who really runs the world, the people that have been making the decisions that have been ultimately affecting all of our lives and, well, particularly ruining all of our lives for their gain. Now, the Illuminati have been around for centuries. They have worked their way into every echelon of power, every structure of power, every little controlling aspect of the world's government. The New World Order are part of the Illuminati. The Bilderbergs are part of the Illuminati. It is all a massive web of this secret society that has been controlling nations, governments, banking, everything for the past 4 or 5 centuries. They have religion involved. They have almost every aspect of control over our lives. So I'm doing this show. I've started it all by myself at the minute because I've got no guests.
I'm here.
Oh yes, we've got the Sarge here. Brilliant. That's at least someone to talk to. I'm not just talking to myself. With the Illuminati, they've highly infiltrated all military standings as well. A lot of the wars that have been instigated by the Illuminati to make people fight each other instead of looking higher and seeing who's really in control and who's really in power. And until we know who's at the top of the tree and who's at the top of the pyramid controlling everybody else, the puppet masters, we're not going to be able to cut those strings and detach ourselves from this new world order and this new world governance that want to take control of everything and, well, have done a very successful job of it over the past centuries. So, where to begin? With this one?
Well, maybe we should start in the 18th century with its foundation in Bavaria.
With the Red Shield Bank. Good starting point. The history of how they...
because we've got that, and we've also got I've got some information about the esoteric theological side of it. But if you want to kind of put about the historical background, and then I can kind of put some of the more religious angles on the beliefs and the practices of the Illuminati. If you think that works, I think that would work quite well.
Yeah, you've definitely got more information on the occult side. Let's put it on of the Illuminati. Yeah, so let's start with the Red Shield Bank and the Rothschilds Bank, because that's where the name comes from. And they, like you said, started in Bavaria, in the German region, as we say today. The banking sector and usury and loaning out they've discovered that loaning out to governments was an extremely good way to take control and an extremely good way to make money. Because if you lend to a government, they are almost guaranteed to pay it back in some way, shape, or form, be that through wars, be that through monetary and actual gold payments, or resources that that country can get its slaves to mine. So, back in the 1800s, there was the Napoleonic War. Was it the Napoleonic Wars? Yeah. And this is how
we've actually, it started in the 18th century, so that was actually the 1700s.
Oh, 1700s, yeah, that's when they had to put the foundations in place to build the banking system that they have. So, yeah, it's a difficult one. Where to begin? How to word it? Maybe you'd like to add something else in, because I'm not 100% on this one.
Okay. Yeah. Give me a second, and what I'll do is, after I've done that, once I've given a bit of an intro, and you can work from that, I'll go back, because what I'm trying to do is share things out.
Yeah, because I can post it here, but I can't share it again. I can share it onto my page without stopping the broadcast, I don't think. So, well, I think it actually goes back beyond the 17th century with the Jewish usury and their influence and control over the banking system.
18th century, around in the 1770s, there was a guy called Adam Weishaupt, and he was a professor of canon law and philosophy at the University of Ingolstadt, and he was the only non-clerical professor there, and it was a Jesuit university,
right?
Which is obviously quite interesting, as we all know, when you start talking about Jesuits. Seeing as the current Pope is also a Jesuit.
Would you like to give the audience a bit of a background on the Jesuit sort of standing on life?
Basically, there's within the Catholic Church, there are a number of holy orders, and one of those holy orders is the Jesuits. Now, the issue with the Jesuits is there's a lot that has been linked in with them, and genuine in
howdy ho.
Ah, hello, Alexander. We are live at the moment.
Actually, yes, yes, we are, Alex, and we are.
No worries.
We are talking about the background of the historical foundations of the Illuminati and
their rise to power,
and their links and their rise to power and their links with the Jesuit order. I take it you're probably quite well abreast on this information.
To an extent, they fund both sides of wars and profit off of the blood, sweat, and tears of the conquered. What specifically era of human history do you want to know about? I grew up on the island of Corfu, by the way, which was blessed by the Venetian royalty, Viennese, royalty. They pioneered the Greek Revolution of 1821 from that island under the Masonic Guild Order of the Phoenix, for example.
Great information.
Because they wanted to control Greece's ports, that is. Greece has historically been a debt slave to a Anglo-Franco alliance.
And if you control the ports in Greece, you've got a lot more control over the whole Mediterranean.
Precisely so. It's the linking nation between the Middle East, Africa, and Europe.
Yeah. So would have seen a lot of slave trade back in the day as well.
That was mostly the Barbary coastline. They wanted to protect against to protect their own nations against slavery because the majority of the slavery was owned by Muslims or Middle Eastern, North African people.
Yes, and they did like to. They did like the European slave as well as the African slave, didn't they?
I haven't read a lot into this history, but I know that they had a lot of clashes with Seljuk Turks and pirates of the Barbary coastline. They also set up a massive fuck-off fortress on the island of Corfu to protect themselves against pirates. So I don't know.
Well, a lot of the main structures around the coast of southern coast of Europe were there built to protect against pirates. I know that from Spain because I lived there for a while, and there were a lot of little turrets, castles, all built along the coast because of the Moors and how they would invade and raid and take a lot of slaves.
Oh well.
Before they actually came and conquered.
By the way, guys, the most pertinent fact concerning secret societies and so forth in this day and age is that all the poisons that lurk in the mud will hatch out. And specifically, I'm talking about the elite trafficking, torturing, raping, murdering, and sacrificing children.
Yeah, that's a subject we're going to come on to a bit later, but we're just going to concentrate on the history and where it came from and how they got their power.
Where that comes from?
And
where what comes from, pardon?
The power and their influence and how they built the banking system and how they built their secret empire.
Oh, sure. Want to know how they conquered the nation of the United Kingdom?
Well, we're going to start with where they came from before that, with the development of the Red Shield Bank in Germany and Bavaria. And then how it expanded from there, and the tricks that they used to literally conquer the world. So
do you want me to continue with the initial background? Okay. Obviously this university, the University of Ingolstadt was run by the Jesuits, and they held all the purse strings and the power within the university, and viewed it as their own. And this Adam Weishaupt was he was trying to push forward material within the university that was not in keeping with what the Jesuits necessarily wanted to put forward. And generally what happened was if we look at history, we come to the Enlightenment period, which is a big pointy arrow in history about the rise of the Illuminati.
The Renaissance.
The Illuminati are viewed as the enlightened ones. Now, I think it might be a good idea at this point to explain why they are the enlightened ones, and for that we have to delve into the occult and into the religious significance of.
Yeah, well, let's put a foundation in for their occultist side and their religious side.
Okay.
Oh, you're breaking up a bit, Sarge.
Yeah, sorry, I'm just trying to make sure that, because I have to push to talk, and sorry, that puts in some keys into my text. Okay, 1 second.
Hey, by the way, Sergeant Hound, just out of curiosity, I am an archivist of forbidden knowledge and information as well. We ought share files, articles, archives, and so forth. Are we in agreement?
Yes.
I'll give you a link to the server.
Yes, and I will send you a link that I have, which has got which covers the more esoterical religious knowledge side of things.
And this is what
Certainly.
This is what the hive mind is all about: getting great people to come together and share their information. That is the key for the show.
John Stuart Mill's Marketplace of Ideas.
That's exactly
right. Okay. Now, as we've already spoken about, the Illuminati are known as the Enlightened Ones and originate from Bavaria. And if we look at some of the important figures throughout history who have been the creators of material, be it works of art or music or literary pieces that were members of the Illuminati, what we also look is when we come forward to the 20th century, the work of such organizations, the work of the organization known as the Illuminati and its members was of extreme importance to the National Socialist German Workers' Party in the 20th century, and was required study for the elites in that political structure.
right.
Yes, it's important to know your enemies.
However, the reason for this is the Illuminati is a form of Luciferianism or Satanism in regards to their religious beliefs, which is why, as Alex has mentioned, there has been involvement of the Illuminati through their power structures in the systematic ritual abuse, both sexual and physical, of young children.
You read into thelemic ritual, gnostic mass, adrenochrome harvest, and pineal harvest, yes?
Yes, I am.
Good. Anyone who is wondering what these things are, go to WikiLeaks and type in pineal, for example. Also read Aleister Crowley's works on the matter, and also go to my YouTube channel, Alexander Sangmore, and check out the video where I have the music that they play while sacrificing children that I found on the darknet.
Yeah, I've heard that, and it's pretty goddamn scary.
Yeah, now, you may wonder why it's called the Illuminati. Well, when we look at the word Lucifer, the name Lucifer, that is the Latin name of the Hebrew Haleli, and that is the name given to the I'm trying to think how we would. This is the name that is given to the morning star.
Right. The one that's on quite
the light bringer.
The one that's on quite a few flags, as we've discussed before.
Oh no! Yeah. That's with the horn and
the morning star.
But yes.
For example, the Israeli flag has the seal of Remphan, which is the star of Moloch, not the Star of David.
Yes. Talking to is the crescent moon and star, which is turned at 90 degrees and refers to the upturned and the inverted 5-pointed star Luciferianism.
Well, you did have 40 generations of rabbinical Jews behind Karl Marx, 40 generations worth of rabbis.
I'm also talking about the Islamists. If you look at the Islamic crescent moon and star, if you turn that 90 degrees to the left, you get the horns of the devil and the inverted five-pointed star, which is used to represent Baphomet.
Yeah.
In plain sight.
Yeah, that's another.
Now,
it just shows that the Illuminati goes back even further than what we think. And it started and created a lot of things like that to force control and force wars upon the world.
Okay, now I am going to go into a bit of Canaanite ancient Hebrew paganism, a Jewish religion before it was turned into its current monotheistic form, and let's put it this way, its false form. The original Hebrew pantheon contained a number of gods.
Oh, you're breaking up quite a bit, Sarge. It's a bad connection.
See if I can get the voice acting.
Yeah, maybe that might be better. Or maybe if you jump out of the server and jump back in, it might create a stronger connection. Now, just whilst he's trying that, Alex, do you...
Hello, is that what, Bell?
Yeah, that sounds a lot more clear, yeah.
Okay. And it also means I don't have to talk. Also. Right, okay. Now, in the Canaanite mythology, there were gods. Now, there is you over between which two this is.
It's still breaking up, sadly. It's still breaking up. Like I said, maybe jump out.
Is this any better?
Maybe jump out of the server and come back in. See if you can. See if you can make a stronger connection that way.
Is this any better?
I think it's still breaking up a little bit. So you'll get to halfway through a sentence and stop just a little bit.
Is this any better?
You see, at the end of the sentence then, it came, is this any better? Not, is this any better? Oh.
Okay, then I maybe I should try to what I say.
Technical difficulties.
Help. Does that?
No, we're still losing you.
Anyway, I'll give a brief rundown while he fixes his connection.
Yeah, please do.
The ancient Canaanites used to worship two deities in Gehenna, which is the dumping ground outside of Israel, where they used to have ritualistic orgies in commemoration of Eostre or Ishtar or Ashtoreth or Easter. And during these ritual orgies, they also used to sacrifice children to a god named Moloch, in order to have the will, with a capital W, to conquer nations, to defend their own, and to dash babies against rocks. Let me read you a little excerpt from Paradise Lost of John Stuart Mill.
And it seems that these ancient traditions and ancient customs are still quite alive and well today.
unfortunately, though we have resurrected the ancient deity Kek to oppose them.
Is that the frog?
Yes, the very first species that informs the population of the Nile that there is an imbalance or corruption in nature, as well as the representative of the coming of the light after the eternal darkness. Anyone who wants to have a gander at this, go to my channel, Alexander Sangmoore on YouTube. Sangmoore is the surname. And find the video called Satismentibus Obvia Kek Esoterica. And it's a 45-minute documentary-style rundown on what it represents. By the way, David Wolf, are you able to show images on screen, or?
I can't, sadly. No, it's still not.
I see. No worries. Download OBS Studios when
I get the chance. Yes, I'm not sure if it'll run on this tiny little computer that I've got, but we'll give it a try. We'll give it a shot over this weekend and see if we can get back with better
So I wanted
software.
to read an excerpt here. Plutarch wrote in De Superstition 171, but with full knowledge and understanding, they themselves offered up their own children, and those who had no children would buy little ones from poor people and cut their throats as if they were so many lambs or young birds. Meanwhile, the mother stood by without a tear or moan, but should she utter a single moan or let fall a single tear, she had to forfeit the money, and her child was sacrificed nevertheless, and the whole area before the statue was filled with a loud noise of flutes and drums, that the cries of wailing children should not reach the ears of the people.
Wow.
And remember, these ceremonies were done in the dumping grounds outside Israel called Gehenna. This is where the term Holocaust comes from, which means all burn or burnt sacrifice. The original meaning of the word Holocaust is Jews burning children alive, to Moloch. And it is through neuro-linguistic programming that its meaning has changed to
yes.
suit the agenda for the creation of the nation-state of Israel.
Exactly. Yeah, pretty heavy, pretty deep stuff. But that's what it's all about.
For anyone who wants to listen to the music that they play while sacrificing children, go to Alexander Sangmoore and check out the video called "Music Sample Used During Echo 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 Their Child Sacrifices."
And yeah, like I said, I've listened to that, and it's chilling.
To YouTube, by the way, or to Facebook, or
yeah, this is just going out live on Facebook. I wanted to try to do something.
I see.
Live
Good. The world requires more people with sufficient testicular fortitude and vertebrae to put such information forth. Anyone who wants to read further into this, read The Bloody Passover by Ariel Toaf, as well as The Murder of William of Norwich, which is the reason why Jews were kicked out of 110 plus nations, because they used to kidnap children of Muslims and Christians and drain them of their blood for occult rites.
Yes.
Don't take my word for this, by the way. This can be independently proven through multiple historically verified sources and accounts. Again, Ariel Toaf, Bloody Passover, and The Murder of William of Norwich in England. Books.
Can you hear me?
Yes, you're coming through loud and clear now, I think, Sarge.
Right, okay. Did I hear you right, Alex, where you were saying about how you were saying that there were two gods that were worshipped by the Canaanites?
Moloch.
There were actually a lot more. Because it was a pantheon, much like the Greeks and the Romans had a pantheon.
I would like a list, by the way.
I will be able to. I will be able to, as my pagan beliefs actually have are of the Hebraic original religion, not the bastardized version.
By the way, is it not accurate that the two most prominent and popular ones were Moloch and Elstre?
There was Ashtoreth.
Yeah, that's Easter. They go by many names. Elstre, Ashtor.
There are actually two. The thing is, Moloch was one. However, there were Moloch was not one of the most popular. And actually, if you have Ashtaroth, Ashtaroth and Ashtoreth. Ashtoreth was actually, there was one which was a demon, and one which is more commonly known by the name Ishtar. And Asherah was the chief goddess, wife of El, as in El, who was the chief god. And also
in the Old Testament, God is sometimes referred to as El Elyon, or the highest or greatest, as well.
Yeah, which is one of the names that he went by. Now, as we learned, as anybody who studied the foundations of the Jewish religion, modern Jewish religion, the wars between the Jews and the Canaanites actually were mainly due to the fact that the Jews were the ones that were taken into exile in Babylon, and the Canaanites were the ones that were left behind and did not get taken into exile. And when the Jews returned a few centuries later, they did not recognize the religion, their own religion, as a religion had changed so much while they had been in exile, because it had taken on traits of their captors, both the Babylonians and the Persians. So if we actually go back to look at Lucifer, or Helale, there is talk that they either talk about Helale trying to usurp the throne of El, or they refer to Atar trying to take Baal's throne. Now, Baal being a subordinate god, subordinate as a god only to El, and the worship of Baal was quite common, but there were two Baals, one of which was called Baal Hadad, and so I will go through that with you, go through the different gods with you, Alex, so you're obviously quite interested in this. Now, this is where the mythology of Satan being a fallen angel and being sent down to the underworld, because that is covered in the mythology of Atar versus Baal and Halale versus El.
Hey, by the way, Sergeant, just as a brief aside, and thank you for explaining in such detail, it is a particular rarity to come across someone who has studied such forbidden knowledge, similar to myself. Over the coming few months, I'm doing university tours. Would you like to join me and be a lecturer concerning such matters?
I think that would be, if it's before my move overseas, then I would be quite happy to do that, especially as I do have a doctorate in divinity.
Oh, I see. Exquisite. I'm the founder and former president of my university's Secularist, Atheist and Humanist Society. I had multiple university PhD lecturers monitor and be jurors in the debates that I hosted at university. But very nice to meet someone with a PhD in divinity.
Well, it's actually what's called a DD rather than a PhD,
I see.
because it's within it, because divinity as a
schools.
subject generally does not get a PhD.
I see.
It's generally referred to as Theo D, or as in theology, or just DD. as a
I see.
subordinate.
Regardless, a sum of knowledge that ought to be that we ought to be vocal about in this day and age.
Yes.
For anyone who is doubting what is currently being said, go to YouTube immediately and type in Dutch banker child sacrifice.
Now, when we look into this, it actually gets quite...
Oh.
Sorry about that.
Oh.
Yes, I just had to look at my notes, and rather than write them down, which might have been a bit better, I put some notes on Notepad, just as prompters. So yes, so much the theology behind those initiated into the Illuminati order is one of, in common parlance, Satanism. And they are worshippers of, whether you may call him Lucifer, Halale, Atar, Satan, Shaitan. And when we look at this is an ancient theology, but it came into the theological traditions of the modern Jewish religion, the modern Christian religion, the modern the Islamic tradition.
The breaking of the bread with the bread and wine thing, eat of my flesh and drink of my blood thing, is from that, isn't it? By the way.
Actually, yeah, that actually is a pagan tradition, and it's not necessarily of relating to cannibalism. It is about the offering, and what has happened is there has been some, dare I say, bastardization of Christianity over time.
I'm not sure it's just Christianity. It's the case that ever since Pope Pius the First, if I recall correctly, the Catholic Church, for example, has been infiltrated by Jesuits, and I believe that the consumption of blood of terrified victims under the Rosicrucian Masons is referred to as, quote, the Holy Sacrament. Is this accurate?
Yeah, yes, that is accurate. But the issue is, if we refer to the Council of Nicaea, I think that's what you're referring to. Is it not? Where the Roman Emperor oversaw the foundation of a new religion for the Roman Empire, and where they adopted Christianity, and they designed it to fit in with their religion.
Yes, overlapping of the festivals of Saturnalia, for example, right?
Yes, exactly. And what happened there was those traditions that were, dare I say,
yes,
I'll refer to it as what the more white, I would say, well, you use the term white pagan traditions of Jesus were bastardized to fit into the Messiah ideology of the modern Jewish religion, which was monotheistic, and to fit in with the Roman tradition, and kind of created some weird creature that did not actually bear too much of a resemblance to the original Christian faith.
This specifically, the specific word for this is called sociocultural and religious syncretism.
Exactly. Now, what I know from my studies is that the original teachings of Christ were that he came as a Messiah for the Gentiles, i.e., the pagans, not as the Jewish Messiah. And the sacrament of the bread and wine ceremony actually is a practice today in pagan arenas as the cake and ale ceremony, and it's about making an offering to the gods,
that they may become part of the body of God, because prior to this point they were soulless animals and goyim, according to the Jews. Yes.
Yeah. It's more to do with a ritual connection, and a lot of the spiritual side of paganism actually comes from working with the deities for the benefit of mankind, and the benefit of the natural world. Now, the way this is different from Satanism is a lot of that is done for a lot of the ritual that they're doing is they are feeding demonic energies and malevolent bodies in order for personal gain. And this is where the difference comes between that which is good and that which is evil, when one thinks of oneself and is selfish in what one does.
Your actions, the sum of your deeds make up your character and your identity. Therefore, if you are a child sacrificer, then you have the will, with a capital W, to conquer nations, to dash babies against rocks, etc.
Exactly. What you are doing is when one does think to get things for one's benefit, and think of oneself, one is required to do evil.
According to psychologists, by the way, if you do or perform a ritual prior to undergoing a great task or crusade or whatever, you feel more so inclined to go through with it and to fulfill it. For example, the thelema, or will, the thelema is Greek for will, of Hillary Clinton was "we came, we saw, he died," in reference to Gaddafi, who wanted to go away from the Bretton Woods petrodollar and instill a Pan-African gold currency. And her satanic thelema was to overthrow him, as has been the case with JFK, Hitler, Jesus, anyone who opposed the financial merchant class of the world.
Yeah.
Now, can I just put it in one way to make it a lot simpler for the watching audience? The elites, they kept a lot of their religion and a lot of their tradition, whilst creating the new religions for the underclasses. So they kept their esoteric practices for themselves, whilst feeding the slaves, or feeding the goyim, or feeding the general populace the new sort of religions that would keep them under control.
Slave morality and so forth. I need to go, unfortunately, but very nice speaking with you all. Anyone who wishes to check any or things of this discussion in detail, do please subscribe to my channel, Alexander Sangmore, on YouTube. And other terms that they have for you, other than goyim, are useless eater, hollow vessel, homo mediocris, homo stolidus, and ground gazer. Anyway, toodles for now, gentlemen.
Good luck. You're welcome back at any time.
Okay, so to continue with what I was saying,
yes,
the idea with relation to religion is that when one does stuff for the benefit of others, that is you doing good. Now, the good is then reflected upon you.
Yes.
And as such, what is quite often referred to in Eastern traditions as karma. Now, when you do something for yourself, you may be doing something to get some positive for yourself, but in order to do that, there must be payment, and the payment must either be upon yourself or upon an innocent who takes your suffering upon them. Now, this is where the sacrifice element comes in with regards to young children, young animals. This is where that idea comes from, because they are pure, naturally pure, and
yes.
While they are learning and developing their own will, as a child, until it knows itself, cannot really be considered be something of good or evil, and is presumed good until it develops the consciousness of its own and responsibility of its own actions, in order to make a proper choice.
Is that why, there's bar mitzvahs and things like that?
Exactly.
At the turning of 13.
The coming of age ceremony,
yes.
Which because it is generally viewed that until one attains puberty, one hasn't reached the level of understanding of oneself in order to cope with the adult world. And this is why, and it was believed. This is why some traditions believe that once a child attains puberty, they are an adult and therefore fair game, because
they have lost their innocence.
The tradition originally believed that once one obtained puberty, the receiving of puberty was bestowed upon you from above to show you and show others that you had reached that point of consciousness and understanding that you would be responsible. So it was a sign from above.
Back when we didn't really truly understand the human body.
Exactly. However, if we do understand, well, I'm not advocating, obviously, that puberty is when someone becomes an adult. We have to say that when we look at children, until they reach the age of puberty, would we say that they are responsible for their own actions?
No, they are
would
innocent.
we say that their parents are more responsible for how they behave?
True.
So I would say that in society, especially with regards,
but it's still a part.
The age of legal responsibility, for example.
But it's still a part of the human growth. So it's a natural thing.
Yes. And it may just be consequential that someone, once they reach that kind of age, is about the time that they reach the point, or it may have something esoteric to do with the obtaining of puberty. That is something that is still a question open to debate, as neither science nor religion has got all the answers on that. But what we can say for definite is that the Satanists of the Illuminati, they very much act in a way for their own self-benefit. And if we look even at modern LaVey Satanism, even then while it says that one should not do harm to others, the overriding characteristics is to think of oneself and what makes one
better,
happy, and do what is
necessary
and what is desired for oneself. So it has even LaVey Satanism, which I would say is how would I word? classic Satanism kind of has learnt those kind of
secrets,
ideas.
Yes,
it's got that basic thread of the knowledge of satanic ritual.
And now we see it a lot in the elites of today. They don't want to self-sacrifice or do any damage to themselves, so they offer the innocents in their place. Hence the reason for a lot of missing children.
Exactly, which is why the golden rule, or the rule of three, which is generally espoused throughout paganism, is what you don't do unto others returns to you threefold. So the Luciferians, the Illuminati, the Satanists, they perform rituals in such a way as they redirect the bad that they do for their own personal gain upon an innocent, so as not to suffer themselves. However, what is misunderstood by them is that is lessening the debt, but is only lessening the debt during the mortal realm. It is not lessening the debt within the spiritual realm. So once one perishes and dies, all that ill which you have done will befall you
threefold
anyway, but within the spirit world only. However, as they are so concerned with the material world, they are willing to stupidly allow that to happen, as they are not certain as they are still not convinced of the existence of the spiritual realm. Whereas those of us who have the knowledge of the gnosis, that there is both a spiritual and a material realm, know that we have the debts that we have in life affects both the spiritual and the material world, and no amount of redirection in the material world will save us in the spiritual world.
Well, we've got Neil. Neil's just come into he's been in the room for quite a while, but has remained silent as he's listened to our conversation. I wonder if he's got any remarks to make about it as well.
Well, I haven't been in for long. Tech issues again.
Tech issues, yes.
But yeah, ultimately, I agree with what you were saying in regards to how they've been operating, and they've already sold their souls. So that's where their morality doesn't come into this.
Yeah, we've gone a lot into the dark history of the Illuminati to now bring it now over the next hour or so, bring it forth into the present day and what they are doing to us here and now in this day.
Well, they know that there's people that are waking up to what's really going on, and the reason why they're putting so many frequencies is to confuse us, so we can't get onto that level. And they send us into hyperdrive.
And there's a lot of distractions, a lot of ways that they use.
Our sensor is a mess.
Yeah. Right. Can I just leave you two chatting for a moment?
Of course you can.
Right.
Yeah.
I will disagree with Alex in relation to Hitler and whether the New World Order, or as I will refer to it more correctly, the Natürliche Wirtschaftsordnung, the Rothschilds and the Soroses and all this, the people that actually were around at that time. Now, people say that he was trying to combat that. In reality, in all wars, the Illuminati back both sides. And the reason they back both sides is because war is the ultimate sacrifice of individuals. So a war is used by them as a misdirection for all the ill that they do. So all these persons suffer through the material world by death,
hardship and strife,
as a bargaining for their future. So
yes,
in a way that they don't get, in a way they don't suffer in the material world.
Alexander uses the term,
which is why they play both sides. And when you consider that Adolf Hitler was the illegitimate descendant of a Rothschild, of Meyer de Rothschild, it is hardly going to be the case that the Rothschilds were not on his side.
Well,
they were on both sides.
Yeah, even the Bilderberg group was alive back then, I think, with Bush Senior, who funded Adolf Hitler quite heavily.
Prescott Bush.
Yeah, Prescott Bush, that's the one. Now, what Alexander states about them funding both sides to war is that's a way of using blood magic.
That is correct.
Mm.
The issue I had with Alex was that he was saying that the New World Order fought against, basically had this war against Hitler. It didn't. The actual war was part of the ritual in order for them to do. In one way, it can be for blood magic. In another, it can be for sacrifices, and we will never know what they were actually, unless we actually get access to their archives, and they've written things down. We will never know what they were doing or what they were seeking to do, and whether it was sacrifice or blood magic. But it would be one of it. Either one would actually fit in the realms of magics.
Yes, and it would fit more than what we're taught at school.
Exactly.
Yes.
We have to look at Marina Abramovich and her connections with the elites.
The Clintons especially.
And what she does to know the disgusting nature of what they do. She believes that mixing sperm with breast milk and blood and feces is a good mix. I don't understand why they believe it's a good mix to do these rituals, but they paint walls in them like messages and all of this stuff, and they say the blood's pig's blood.
No,
it could be, but the nature of what they do and the people behind closed doors, I don't see that being the case myself.
It will not be. It will not be pig's blood, and I can guarantee that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know.
The view of a pig being an unclean animal is down to the fact that pork
rots in the desert.
It rots easily, and
makes people sick.
It attracts maggots and the like easily. So in a hot, arid climate, it's going to go off very, very quickly. So it's always going to be bad for you. It's not sensible to eat those things. The pig is not viewed as a as a worthy animal anyway for sacrifice. For sacrifice, to be blunt, the animal must be viewed as being pure and innocent, and also we tend to think that kids, as in goat kids, children, and lambs, and small birds are deemed to be worthy sacrifices. Even a piglet is not deemed to be a worthy sacrifice in any form of sacrificial act. Though, to be blunt, I would say that much of the offerings of meat were not for the positive deities, as generally it was things that actually took work. So things like bread, things like wine, things that had to be made. So just to sacrifice something that has been provided, a living being, is not putting in the effort required. So is a bad sacrifice to any of the positive deities. They want you to work. They want you to show that you've actually put the effort in, which is why you have things like Asherah cakes, which are kind of like an unleavened date cake, which were used as an offering to the goddess Asherah. Things like incense, you have to make incense. Wine, you have to make the wine.
You have to put the effort in instead of just...
there's effort. There's effort. It's not to ask for something and not put effort in yourself is viewed as being lazy and you being unworthy for help, and only those which
the evil deities like the easy way out.
Only those negative elements and aggressive elements that want blood and violence and do not care about effort, and I think are more concerned with your selfish negative impulses. Those are the elements that would those elements are the ones that would like the blood sacrifice, would like the destructive sacrifice rather than the constructive sacrifice.
Yeah, and we see it a lot with the elites and the leaders of this world. They have created nothing. They have built nothing. They have not done any work with their hands whatsoever. They just sacrifice others and other people's efforts to get to where they've got.
Yes, it's quite terrible. Now, if we start going forward a bit to the future, we can look and see that if we look at this, we can actually see that there's been a number of actions throughout history that were orchestrated because people were fighting against this order. Now, if we are honest, most of the wars that we have historically were against, were for no other end other than to financially profiteer through the banking system, but also to spiritually benefit through dark magics. Now, I think we would all agree that the sort of things that John F. Kennedy was trying to do as president were quite good acts. He was trying to do good.
Yes.
And not only was he trying to do good and fight against the evil of
the secret societies,
the secret societies, he was acting in a good way, in an innocent way. So for them, the death of Kennedy had multiple benefits.
Yes,
in that he could be used as a sacrifice
it was
for their own ends, and to remove him as an inconvenience also.
Yeah, I've seen on a video somewhere that it was the ritual of the killing of the king, and to take the American people out of the age of innocence and into this new age of dominance, being dominated.
I've just dropped a video of Marina Abramovich and her lovely art. If you ever want to take a look at it and what she writes, and what she does, it's very, very bizarre. I'll drop it into live chat as well.
Yeah, if you could let the viewers see this information as well. Yeah, if I could put other things on myself, I would do, but I don't want to stress my computer out too much and have the whole thing crash.
That's all right, mate. Yeah. I don't mind.
Because, there's like I said, with the assassination of Kennedy, it was a multi-layered assassination. There were different reasons behind it, and it was done, executed, and ordered by Freemasons in a Freemason lodge. And the symbolism all around the place where he died in Dallas is there, blatant. There's an obelisk with the light of Lucifer on top. There's a lot of there's the three prongs, the trident on the streets there as well. There's a lot of symbolism around that. And
if you look at where the White House is and all of the White House, if you do an aerial view of it, you'll see a lot of symbolism, triangles. You can see the connections of where the buildings are, and the placements will be actually the square and compass of Scottish Rite Freemasonry.
Yes, and there's also
and that's the case. That's where we have to remember what it is. It's a Scottish Rite Freemasonry. It's not the masonry that was beforehand.
If we think about Freemasonry, think about the word free mason. Free, a mason creates things. Free, as in free without anything. So it is like without real work, you make things. Things happen without the effort.
Which is why they're a society with secrets, not a secret society.
Well, they have come a lot into the open, and they do use the symbolism a lot, and their symbol is quite prominent in a lot of their building work. So I would say they're not so secret society, and like you said, they are a society with a load of secrets.
The only real true secret society that I can work out would be the Bilderberg group, because there's literally no information on the Bilderberg group whatsoever. That's where a concern comes in. And every single meeting they're at, they're either guarded by the army or they have their own personnel to do it.
And they'll all be under, I think they'll be under even stricter rules than Chatham House.
There is no way anything what's said in those meetings is allowed outside of those walls. They have a few high-end, like people within journalism and news, the mainstream media, that go there, and that's so they can feed the narratives.
Yeah, they can tell the people what they're supposed to have said, apart from what they actually have said. Yeah.
Or what they're going to say, opposed to what they think they should say. Yeah.
And we don't know any of their ideology, really.
And it's over 120 world leaders or very influential people. Society, so it would be people like Bush, Blair, and the likes of that go to these events. Now, why do all of those have to go there? And then you have to question why all religious leaders across the world have all signed a plaque in a place in Kazakhstan that is basically their new world order city.
Astana.
Astana, that's it. And if you rearrange that, it goes Satan.
Yes.
Not just that. If you look at the word Astana, it doesn't need to be rearranged, because if you look at the word Astana, it would have connotations with Stella, with star, anyway. Just by the word would have those connotations, and as Lucifer is the morning star.
Yes, making reference to that. Yes. And there's a lot of symbolism in that city. You just need to look at a picture. If you look at a picture of Astana, you will see Luciferian symbolism everywhere.
Twin pillars of Scottish Rite Freemasonry either side of the main building. Then in front of that you have the Tree of Life, and behind it you have the pyramids. Yeah, it all adds up.
Yeah, it's all there, right in front of our faces.
Nothing nefarious going on there whatsoever.
No.
Just all the symbolism that is rolled in around the world from these societies with secrets. This is how I'm going to put it now. And they're all rolled into one.
But
there are no coincidences.
And to choose a place like Kazakhstan, that's a very quiet, sort of backwards sort of country, where there won't be very much media coverage. You know, I've only just learnt about Astana a few weeks ago. So,
and it's very influential when you go to a poor nation, and you're very rich.
And you've got to see its central location as well. It's very very sort of centre of the earth. Is Kazakhstan.
I'm looking for large circles to see if they have a hadron collider or anything of the such.
Yeah,
right. You know that China is talking about making its own collider.
What is the significance of the collider? Because what is not still just to find subatomic particles and track the.
No. Do you want me to go into that in a minute?
Yeah, because we've touched upon it, and it'd be neglectful to the audience to not know.
When they say it's a gateway to hell, let's just say that's pretty much right.
What?
Also, what you should bear in mind is that the Higgs boson
is
referred to as the God
particle. Yes, the particle that makes all particles.
Well, they say it's antimatter now, but now it's because they did come out and say it's the God particle, and then they had to change it to the antimatter. But behind closed doors, within CERN and within other places, they call it a God particle. And the reasons will become clear when Sarge goes into things, because he'll know more about this than I do.
Yeah, this is not a rabbit hole I've been down myself, and I want to have a little look down it.
I've been down halfway, and I still have the rest of the hole to go down. Yeah.
Because that's the thing we love about this show, is delving down our rabbit holes, finding out what's really going on.
Okay, boys and girls.
We are sitting comfortably.
Buckle yourselves in, because and keep your hands and feet inside the compartment, as the area we're going to be delving in is very dark and very dingy, and not at all safe. Right. Now, if you look up the opening ceremony for the Hadron Collider,
I've seen that.
You will see a ritual. That is a satanic ritual, and it is a ritual of where they are ridiculing and triumphing over the Christ. Now, this is being conducted, and there is a lot of symbology in it. And once you start studying symbology, watching that video can make you feel a little sick, because of how dark it actually is. Now, the Hadron Collider. Interestingly, and I'll come back to this in a little bit, one of the scientists put his head inside the Hadron Collider, and he's still, we would say, alive.
What, having two particles fired at his head at light speed, and he's still alive?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. Yes. Now, the issue about this, as scary is that the whole identification of the God particle, i.e. that which creates life and can be used to create things, if you look at theology, what has always been described as something that one should not do? One should not play God. There's a reason for that, because when one attempts to usurp God and his or her position, or a God's position, it doesn't end well for them. And in mythology, whenever that has happened, when we talk of Hades and Zeus, when we talk of Atar and Baal, or Hayele and El, and many other traditions, what we actually talk about is the one that usurps gets cast asunder and down
into hell,
to the underworld, to hell. There's a reason for that. When one tries to make oneself God, a false god, one becomes demonic.
Absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Exactly. And when we look at this from a theological standpoint, we have to look at what would happen if one were to create a particle that would allow you to create other things and recreate creation. Would one say that you are risking demonic possession?
Yeah.
Yes.
So what do we think happened to the professor that put his head in the Hadron Collider?
Well, I'd have thought
He got possessed. He went demonic.
Yes. However, because of the elements of which he was involved in, and because he has reached that higher level of communing, this professor is now viewed as a god on earth by the Illuminati, which is commonly called, in modern parlance, from a economic side of things, the Bilderberg Group. They are one and the same.
They are a substantial arm of the Illuminati.
So what we're actually looking at is that the world leaders involved and who have positions amongst this are the enlightened ones. If we think back to what I spoke about what an enlightened one actually is, that tells you why the world is in the state it is.
It does start to put pieces of the puzzle together. It really does. And
now, if we take apocryphal mythology, which is relating to prophecy, there we're talking about books like Revelation, 2 Enoch, 2 Enoch and the Life of Adam and Eve, actually, which are pseudepigraphical texts, actually talk about in depth about Haele and his fall from grace. And if somebody can put the link I've got onto the Facebook page, I would be appreciative.
Neil, can you do that?
I can do that.
Great stuff.
It's there now. That actually is a resource which includes all of these texts which I'm referring to, and you can read these texts yourself at slow time and gain a bit more understanding for yourself, because just listening to myself, I'm giving you a rundown and
a synopsis.
And when you consider how much I've actually been talking, to learn that this is a synopsis might actually give you an understanding about how much reading I've had to do on this subject.
And how in dark we are.
Exactly. And bear in mind,
I've also dropped in a link to a YouTube video that's what's being called a fake video, but I'm not 100% convinced. All I know is that it is at CERN, and whether it's a mock killing or real killing, either way, it needs to be explained why it's being done. But the link to it is in the YouTube. I'm just about to drop it in the Discord, and it shows this person recording this from the building itself. And if you know the deity statue that they have outside the front of CERN, that's exactly where it is.
Which deity would that be? The owl?
No, it's a round circle with a goddess in the middle of it, which is, I can't remember the exact meaning behind it, but it's one of their symbolisms for one of their gods.
Is it Lilith that they've used?
It's I think so. The front pic, you'll be able to see.
Oh, no. I know which one it is. That looks like that Shiva from Hindu mythology.
Yes, that's it.
Which Shiva is the destroyer.
Yes, the destroyer.
Yes, that's the one. That's the one, the Hindu god destroyer. Yes, Shiva.
Because a lot of people might not understand that Hinduism would be often referred to as a polytheistic religion.
Yes.
In effect, what's commonly derogatorily referred to as a pagan religion. But like many polytheistic religions, most people who practice it are something called henotheistic, and they dedicate themselves to one of the gods. But the difference between henotheism and monotheism is monotheists believe that there is only one God. Henotheists believe that there are more than one God, but they have dedicated their life in service just to the one, but they will show respect to the others.
Yes. And all these, they do have pagan roots going back centuries, even millennia.
Monotheism, in reality, the more I'm studying things, the more I'm coming to the conclusion that much of the monotheism in the Abrahamic faiths actually is the given religions to the people.
Yes.
By the establishment, rather than allow them to experience the fullness of real enlightenment. Because if they had the fullness of real enlightenment, they would be open and alert to what they are doing and who they are serving.
Yeah.
And their entire world would definitely come crashing down if people were aware of that, because
the roots of religion, yes.
it would be very obvious that they were serving the
a particular deity,
and evil, rather than being involved in that which is good.
And their world would come crashing down. All of their beliefs and everything that they've based their life upon would be seen as would be shown to them as falsehoods. And
bear in mind,
be able to grasp it.
We are talking on Good Friday, and we are covering a theological topic.
Yes.
What we are, and all we are giving you. And I understand that some people, this delving down the rabbit hole might seem complete nonsense to them, or people may not be ready to understand this, which is why we are passing links of information, because it is easy. I will tell you that I grew up in a C of E Christian household, and it was only after religious experience did I start properly searching for answers that made more sense, and started my theological research. And I have been doing theological research now since around about 2006.
Well, I was born into a Christian, a CFE household, but was never indoctrinated. I was very rebellious against the church, very rebellious against people telling me what to believe. So I was an atheist, but now seeing a lot of what I know now, I see atheism as being quite ignorant.
Well, I was born into a family of no religious beliefs at all. My mum is now pagan. Well, she has been for, I don't know, the last 20 years. And I was like growing up of an attitude, well, if there is a God, I'm not going to like say there is or there isn't until I've met him. That was my attitude. And then I was indoctrinated at school with science, and then I started believing just science.
Yeah.
And then I kind of come into the real world, started questioning a few bits, not really looking into it until I got to about 23. They were harping on about bloody global. That's funny, actually, isn't it? Harping on about global warming. And I was like,
Fun's are fun.
Shut up. You now you're talking rubbish. Like, obviously, we're not having a great effect on our environment. But
True.
That's a case of many things that are causing that, not just one thing. And then I was like, well, they're testing nuclear bombs and sending rockets up into the atmosphere. Like, sure lies that isn't a great idea, burning all them fuels and stuff. But they continue to do it. And I said, well, clearly there's no problem.
Yeah.
And bankers were investing in it. So I thought, well, if bankers are investing in it, it's obviously something to make money from.
Yeah.
That was my attitude. At that point, I wasn't even like down any rabbit holes. That was just from the glossing over what was done. But yeah, I've come to realise that there's a lot of truth in everything. You just have to get those bits that are the truth and put them together yourself, because they won't do it for you. They'll feed you false narratives.
Yeah.
And that's why people are confused and can only concentrate on one thing. They're at a 1,000-foot view, or some people aren't even at a 1,000-foot view, but people like ourselves are a 40,000-foot view, where we can see everything. We're looking over the whole world, the whole situation, and we're taking it all in, rather than just taking in just little bits that confuse people.
And we ask the deep and meaningful question of why. Why is this happening? Why are they saying that?
Exactly. And I've also dropped in a quick 5-minute video into the YouTube and into Discord of the Gotthard's opening ceremony.
Well, is that the satanic dancing?
Yeah, it's part of it, and it'll just give people a little sneak preview of what they were doing, and they can go into more research, can't they?
Yeah. Why would you
into it more?
Why would you have this ceremony
These
before
were also
opening
recorded by RT, so this is not fake.
Well, it'd be pretty difficult to fake a ceremony like that.
Maybe because otherwise I do not want to get an accusation of proselytizing or anything such as that. So
heresy.
I think we need to. If I owe too much further, it would be might be seen as preaching, if not already. So maybe if we could see if there are any questions that people or points people want to make, or if other people have questions, and see if we can't round table the questions. That might be a good way to go forward.
Yeah, well, I've got my eye on the comments here. No one's commented so far, but that's not a bad sign. Yeah, and I also think we should start to move things.
Yeah, we're hurting their brains.
Yeah, I think we should start moving things a bit forward from the ancient esoteric into how they've built this power and how they've taken over the world. And
would you like to continue with that? Because most of my knowledge is about the esoteric, and obviously, which, as you can understand, I've got quite a lot of detail on it, and any further is a bit much. So, if not already, so maybe if you and Neo want to start bringing in a bit more of the present day actions of the Illuminati,
the recent histories as well. Yes. So let's transverse from this and let's go to the banking sector and the banking system, because that is one of the cruxes, one of the roots of their entire power upon the globe. Now, I think, yeah, we'll start with how they took over how they took over Britain, especially the Red Shield Bank and the Rothschilds were able to usurp the crown and take England for themselves, and to put us all into a form of debt slavery. Well, into debt slavery. Now, you might have heard this story before, but it's the story of the Napoleonic War, where the Red Shield Bank sent their messenger from the Battle of Waterloo, where we won, but they sent their messenger with the message that Britain had lost. From there, they brought it back to the City of London and spread the rumour that Britain had lost the war, to make everybody sell their British bonds, everybody sell all of their investments in Britain, to crash the stock prices, to crash the prices and crash the market, which they have done several times since, but this is the main one where they took a lot of their power. So they propagated the rumour that Britain had lost, forcing everybody to wildly sell all of their assets, all of their stocks and all of their bonds, which then crashed the market, which gave the Rothschilds and the Red Shield Bank the opportunity to buy them all at pennies to the pound and coin that certain phrase. Now, once they did this, they literally took over the British Isles by buying up everything, absolutely everything in sight, and buying it from the crown. Now, they then got the news that Britain had actually won the war, which shot the prices back up and made them even filthier rich than they already were, and put the crown in a massive debt, a war debt, to the Rothschild banking system, to the Red Shield Bank, which then gave them total control over Britain. Because once you own the banking system, once you own all the money, it doesn't matter who runs the country. Who runs the country will do your bidding, because they are indebted to you. The Red Shield Bank then looked to move across the Atlantic, to move to the new colonies and to New World, and to take over America. They were very successful in doing so because of their influence in the British Empire and their influence over Britain. Then a certain president, I think it was President Jackson, did his utmost to destroy the banking system, destroy the Red Shield Bank. Sadly, he was able to deal them a mortal injury but not to kill them fully. So the Red Shield Bank did retreat back to the UK, back to Britain, only to hatch more plots and more ways to gain control over the Americas, which subsequently they did do. Then once they had the Americas under the thumb, their empire grew stronger and faster day by day. And yes, it's brought us to the sort of position where we are now. That's my understanding of it, and I believe that is actual current fact. Anybody else?
There is a very good story to go along with that as well, on how they took the banking system over in the Americas and other places, especially within the UK. Early 1900s, Jekyll Island, very good book to read as well. Is where all the
elite
went to meet and hatch up a plan for the global banking system. Then Titanic set to voyage, and the bankers that opposed the central banking system having i.e. the Federal Reserve, they opposed it and they didn't want it. I think there was 10 of them. Don't quote me on the exact number, but it was around
possibly 13.
10. Could be. And they got a free pass to go onto the Titanic,
the Olympic.
And in quotations, coincidentally, it sank. It hit an iceberg. Now, I believe it was a false flag event. That doesn't mean to say that people didn't die. It means to say the narrative of the situation was very much different to the one that we are told. And why were only certain people allowed to get off of that boat? That's my understanding. And then not long after, the Federal Reserve was birthed. The Rothschilds already had the Bank of England at this point.
Yeah.
The
Bank of Germany.
They took a number of other banks across Europe over. So that's a very good story that links together, and there are very good links and ties in between that for everyone to go and look at that. So Jekyll Island, very good book, and look up other versions of the Titanic. Read up a bit more about the Titanic. Something I'm going to do just so I can give a bit more information on. But I know the Titanic story. I know who was on board of the Titanic, not by name but by nature. So it's a very good one to look into, and puts a lot of links and ties into why one day it wasn't able to be born and the next day it was.
Yes. And just to clear up for everybody, that the Federal Reserve and the Bank of England are both private limited companies that have, let's say, the complete and utter control of the printing of money and complete and utter control over the interest rates that they lend that money to government. So they print it, they make it, and then they lend it to the government.
Not just that, they receive taxpayers' money by way of clearing debt above and beyond, but also in order to provide money for people, they are paid by our taxation for the provision of currency.
Good point. A good point. Yeah, so it's a triple lose situation for the people of the nation. We will lose and lose and lose, and we will never, ever get out of debt with the federal system.
The only way out is through a global reset.
Yeah, which we are hoping is coming into fruition. But as I see it, we've put an awful lot of trust in one man.
Yes, one entity has been trusted far too much. And I do believe the quicker we have our own sovereign money, obviously we know that isn't going to happen until the deep state is taken out, or the cabal are taken out. So yeah, we quicker it happens, it'll be a bit tough at first, but in the long run, it's going to be a lot better.
Yeah, it doesn't matter
for everyone, for every nation having their own sovereign money. Every nation, it's going to free the restraints of prosperity and the need of taxation. We can have contributions still, but taxation can be eradicated.
Which it should be. You know, it's unlawful.
Unlawful.
But we've been brainwashed. We've been bred into this system without the knowledge of what it actually should and could be. Yeah. Now,
and that's why all of us have come together, and like other groups have come together. Many other groups do this, talking about conspiracies that have happened over centuries, millennia, if you really want to look at it that way.
Yeah.
So, and it's a good age to be in. It's a great day to be alive.
Yeah. No matter how dark the tunnel may be, there is light at the end of it. We must strive towards.
There are a couple
future.
of people who have gone on to the old server. Do you want to add them to the server or not?
I'd like to keep it a bit pure at this stage, because a lot of the previous conversations have been quite distracted and got away from point.
I'm just thinking that Alice is around.
Yeah, she has a good.
Alice in.
Yes, if we could do. Yeah, she has a good understanding of things, and is very good with the conversational flow. Do you still have a copy of the server?
I have sent her an invite.
Excellent.
So if I've got approval to invite, then she will have received an invite.
Excellent. Hopefully we'll be hearing from her soon.
I haven't invited the other person that's there.
Which
for now, I think I think this is a bit might even be a bit deep for
for others to join the conversation.
The other person's involvement.
Understandable.
Yeah, I agree.
And there'll be different times and different shows where we can get a lot more people involved, which we are looking to do. If you're out there and you know things about this, and you know things that even we don't know, please get in touch. Send us a message through Facebook or any other way you can, and we'll look to bring you on board. And you can join us. But what the main mission objective of this page, of this broadcast, of this transmission, is for red pill information. This is for blowing the lid off the lies that we've been told. So we've got to try to stay clear of the small, well, not the small, but the distractions that have been put in place by the government, by the establishment, by the deep state, by the Illuminati, to focus us on separate issues and different issues that we can deal with, but not until we deal with the head of the snake. Agreed?
You need to bring the head of the snake down.
Yes.
Chop the head off the snake, and then get rid of the rest of the body. And do you know what?
Chop the head off the snake, and we can feast upon the body. Well, maybe not you, but metaphorically.
Yes, definitely metaphorically. And we have to let the law, not the legalese, the law, the common law, determine the outcome of their
punishment.
Their punishment, yeah,
their fate.
That's it. Punishment.
Their fate.
And whatever the case may be, that's not for you and I to decide, unless if we are a judge at that point. I don't really have time to go and do that myself. But we will be part of the jury as a people. We will all be part of the jury as a people. So the determination would come down to us, which wouldn't be a hard decision based upon the facts that are presented to oneself. So
yeah, now
their time is coming to an end, which is why you can see, to touch on to what Lauren in the chat said about why they're moving this whole thing, moving their agenda at like light speed. And it's because they know they're coming to an end, and they're trying to implement everything, and they can see all their ties are being cut, and that people are waking up and their plans they're done, they're finished. We know what they're trying to do, we know, and we're coming together, and they can't stop us when we're united.
Hence the reason for shows like this.
They're a 1% and we're the 99%.
Yeah.
If not more.
Yeah. Like I said, that's the reason for shows like this, because we don't trust the Illuminati-owned media anymore. We want to break away from that. We want to seek the truth and not what we are told to be the truth.
We have to be the media now. All of us.
All of us.
Individual media.
Yeah. Investigative journalism. Investigative broadcasting. Individuals broadcasting. People coming together with new ideas and new information. And whistleblowers. People that have been and seen and possibly even done some of these things that we speak of. Because if you can get a first-person account of the occult, it no longer becomes a cult or secret. Now, yeah, we see it a lot. Well, was it Q that dropped? They thought they would follow the stars. The pyramid, the triangle with a tongue and the triangle with an eye, because they control what is said and what is seen.
And if we also think we follow the stars of Hollywood, which has for a long time been, since its inception, it has been the way that they pass out messages. And for those of you who have gnosis or knowledge, they put out films, and the films actually talk about things that, if you understand the symbology, they're actually passing truth out to those that are
in the know.
And they are passing information through in a way they are openly divulging the information, but people are not awake to that information.
But be careful, because to be honest with you, I can't watch a film anymore without looking into it with those eyes, without seeing it for what it might truly be.
Also, they have a rule that they have to tell you what they're doing before they do it.
Yeah,
it's just up to you to go and see it, search for it.
Yeah,
that's one of their their so-called golden rule, or one of them.
Yes, so we comply.
So they have to tell you what they're doing. Yes, by saying nothing, we're consenting.
Yeah, that was it. The consent of the masses. You know, with films like so blatantly obvious, like The Hunger Games and things like that. You know, The Hunger Games, the first one, I think, was released on the anniversary of the assassination of JFK.
Hannibal Lecter, yeah. Silence of the Lambs.
The Silence of the Lambs, yeah. What a weird name for a film.
For people, Avatar.
Avatar.
Yeah.
Even worse, Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah.
Disney.
Yeah. Disney. Disney. That's a freaking rabbit hole and a half. Is that one? Fucking hell.
Disney's a rabbit hole on its own.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, the thing with Avatar is talking about the
Gaia,
the connectivity between the natural earth and how everything is connected, and when we look at what has happened to, say, the Amazon rainforest, what the spiritual implications for the annihilation of that much of the rainforest actually are.
The roots of the world tree.
Exactly. Which is why the tree is used as symbology with Druidry, where you worship in groves. Also, if you notice, the Garden of Gethsemane was a grove. You've got you've got the Tree of Life that's referred to in both paganism and other religions.
Especially the Norse.
Yeah, you've got all this symbolism. The trees are very important, and a lot more important than even the ecologists would try and make them out to be. We are in a symbiotic relationship with the trees for our survival, but also we are in we have a spiritual connection to the trees.
Yeah, and the tree's destruction seems to be quite high on their list of things. We've known about alternatives to trees in production for many years, and they've completely ignored them. And it's a lot damn sight harder to cut down trees to make these products than it would be to grow the hemp to make these products. It's a lot more cost effective to grow hemp rather than just cut down a load of trees.
Not only that, it's better as well. Hemp takes in a lot more of the
pollutants,
or it takes in a lot of carbon emissions. So it would reduce the amount of carbon to equalise what we could breathe, basically, because there isn't the deficit what they say there is.
No.
And like I said, I'm not saying that we aren't causing a problem. We are. But by using hemp, trees can flourish, which would allow habitats to remain, which would allow other plant life and foliage to remain and thrive, as well as life being insects, animals, creatures, everything.
It's a proven fact that life flourishes in a forest.
The only thing I would say is we can't make the mistake that's being made of sorry, I just had to sneeze there. Of getting rid of trees to plant fields. Planting fields for food, or even to plant fields for hemp, is not productive to do, and it still doesn't get away from the fact that the importance actually of trees in themselves as a specific thing. The tree is that connected to us that we really shouldn't be cutting down a lot of trees. We should be making use of other land and areas where there aren't trees.
Yes, agreed.
For the growing of stuff.
Yes, agreed. We should leave the trees.
I agree with that.
And
yes, and plant more trees.
I'm so frigging angry that we're not actually using hydroponics to grow vegetables, actually on lakes and rivers, because the ancient Incans or Mayans fed hundreds of thousands of people using hydroponics, simply woven reeds, and then you'll get the dirt from the sediment from the bottom of the lake or the bottom of the river, and use that as a fertilizer. So we've got these vast tracts of water up and down the country, up and down all over the world, that are just sitting there with the coastline being unused. Now, we could easily solve world hunger by putting hydroponic reed beds all around the sides of those lakes. It wouldn't hurt the ecology too much.
There is a specific terminology for mass agriculture by using the hydroponic system, and I can't remember what it's actually called, but they do it in a place in Southeast Asia where they're continuously flooded and their rice fields were always getting washed away. They've managed to do it through is it irrigation, possibly?
Well, think about all the marshlands we've got, especially in the southeast. Why are we not looking to see if there's a way for us to grow rice in the marshlands? Seeing as it's not that different from the paddy fields, and when you consider some of it may just be heat is the thing. So, I'm sure we can put plastic greenhouses to heat the area over these marshlands to grow the rice.
Fully possible.
That would mean that we could be self-sustainable, and they can't rely on that.
Yeah.
They don't want that, not rely on it. But yeah, that's a very valid point, and something that, yes, should definitely be looked into. We shouldn't be looking into how to manipulate the masses on social medias and through the mainstream medias as such. So, yeah, that's a very good point.
Well, to bring it back to
possibly something I've already looked into, and or it's something someone's already looked into, and they got silenced.
Yes,
as people that come up with these
revolutionary ideas.
Yes, revolutionary ideas, and they are.
Yeah,
they are very revolutionary. And why are we still recycling when majority of the recycling doesn't actually get recycled. It goes to landfills still. Why are we
landfill in Africa?
Yeah.
Yes.
Or just,
and why are we not using the like biodegradable coffee cups, or the coffee cups that can actually be recycled? Because most coffee cups, and this is like 99% of coffee cups that you get from McDonald's, from Costa, or anywhere like that, they can't be recycled because of the plastics they use.
No, not just that. This is where you're actually gonna. This is what you're actually gonna laugh at. Most of the recycling that we do, if there is an iota of food waste, including drink, on it, they are unable to recycle it paper-wise. So a napkin that has been used to wipe your mouth has to go in the bin, and if you put it in the recycling, because it's paper, you actually decontaminate all of the recycling that you've got. So what I don't understand is, why not just why charge us so much money for reusable cup? You know, give us take a reusable cup. All these coffee places will give you a discount if you bring your own cup. They'll even rinse it out for you. So why not just take your own cup? They'll make you a brew in your own cup, and that way you pay for the coffee. You're not paying for the container. You're helping the environment. And what we really need to do with the plastics for recycling, and this is something I believe very strongly with the plastics, and we can do this, and it doesn't matter if the plastics are contaminated to do this. Why are we not just melting it down and using it to fill potholes?
Brilliant idea.
Yeah.
And I just want to say about using your own cup to take to coffee houses and stuff like that. If you do that, it also sends a message to the company saying, do you know what? No, you haven't changed your ways. Now we're going to hit you where it really hurts, and that's your pocket. And now you've got a stockpile of coffee cups that you can't get rid of. You're stuck with them.
Yeah, and it also shows the other people in the coffee shop, and hopefully red pills that, and hopefully awakens them to being able to use their own cup.
And this isn't just to screw them over in that way. It's in regards to, you've got to change your ways, because the environment's suffering because of it, and it's nothing that the average Joe Bloggs can really do about it apart from taking your own cup. Actually, it's a massive step to do, and something I will do in future. I don't really go in coffee houses and that anyway, because the way the coffee beans are produced.
You see, the alternatives are there. The alternatives are there. They only need to be brought into the light, and people only need to be educated about them. And then we'll stop a lot of this rubbish going to landfill. We'll stop a lot of the pollution of this planet, because it is something...
All of it going into the sea.
Yeah, it is something we are now grasping the magnitude of. And for decades, we've just been so inconsiderate with the planet, and how
all of the decent technology that's environmentally friendly has been suppressed, because the Kabbalah, they don't want that. They want the destruction.
Yeah,
that's what they feed off of.
Well, they'd rather, I've seen this, they would rather rule over the ashes than see the plants of life grow and thrive.
They are against life. because they are, and it's not an
Satanist.
exaggeration, evil. Life is the creation of life, the renewal of life is a good thing. When the natural creation of life, a natural renewal is a good thing. A bad destruction is a bad thing. The only destruction that is good is the destruction of that which is evil, which is a cleansing. So like fire fire is destructive, but it is cleansing. If you think about it, what happens to wood when you burn it? It makes
ash, carbon dioxide, and water.
Yeah,
Nutrients.
yes. It makes charcoal. Charcoal is something which is naturally, because of how it's been burnt, charcoal as in its state as it's just been created, depending on obviously what was on the wood, is generally completely non-toxic in regards.
Yeah.
Well, it's a purifier. So fire, like water, opposites, but they both purify. Both can be used to be destructive, but both can be cleansing.
Very well put. Very well put. Yeah.
And it's how things are being used is the problem. Anything can be good, well, anything can be bad, and it's how it's being used and how it's being pushed is the problem.
And it's I see a lot of people just taking the easy way out.
I'll put Facebook as an example. It's being used for a bad purpose.
To track, to monitor.
Ultimately, it can be amazing without of the deep state involved in it. A social network could be amazing like this. To how I thought it was to connect people together and to share experiences. But ultimately, it's being used to control us and to take our information of various sorts. They just love data mining and controlling us with it. But we now know that, so we can use it to our advantage. So that's the difference. It's using a conscious decision.
But this is the thing. Social media, if you actively do things, you can prevent you, and you take the effort, you can make it harder for them to data mine from you, but also you've got to be active in a way to not just have superficial connections, but real connections with people. Otherwise, if you do it the way that they want you to do it, your connections with people, your social connections, replace real connections that you may make in real life and become a superficial connection. And if you're not putting the effort in, that way you're usually also not putting the effort in to protect your data, which allows them to mine data from you, meaning that you continue to be a slave.
Yeah. Well, the thing about Facebook, you can have a Facebook friend and you can be chatting to them or commenting on their statuses and things like that. And you can walk past them in the street and not even notice them. It's to break the physical connection between people and friends, and even simple acquaintances. When you just walk past someone in the street and just say hello. Facebook.
And this is That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to disconnect what we need with everything is a connection to both the spiritual and the material. They are trying through their manufactured religions to keep us from the spiritual, and have been very successful in doing that, unless apart from those of us who have then gone out and realized, been connected with the spiritual and realized actually there's something, this doesn't match what I've been fed, and you go out and research and find the information for yourself, because they have to keep the information out there. So if you want to look for it, you have to be able to find it.
Yeah,
that's part of their rule.
Well, at
the same point, they were trying to disconnect us from the material, i.e., the physical realm. So the connections we make with nature, yeah,
and human physical contact.
We wear clothes, but at times it is important for us to I'm not saying for us to be naked, but there is a requirement for us as a being to actually physically connect with the natural world, and that includes going barefoot and walking through the grass, walking through the sand, going into the ocean and the rivers,
or even
being immersed within nature in the physical sense, and that connects us to nature in the spiritual sense. By keeping us with shoes and socks and all these clothes, keeping us away from nature, what we actually do, what that does is it also cuts us off spiritually from nature.
And even something as important as hugging another human being has been they've started to attack that and take that away from us.
Well, think about it. How depressed generally people. I'm separated from my wife due to distance at the moment, and various things happen. And I'm on antidepressants to help me with that. When she was over, did I feel like I needed them? I still took them because you can't stop and start them. But did I feel I needed them? No. Did I feel better even without them? Yes. Did I feel, and why was that? Because I had a physical connection with her where I was able to do something as simple as cuddle up on the sofa and watch a film. It's not something that big, but that physical connection between you is a real thing. If you notice children, if they lose a parent, and that means they cut down on the amount of physical affection they get from their parents in regards a kiss goodnight or a hug, because they get it from just one parent or within a divorce or something like that, where they're not regularly at the same time getting as much physical attention. It affects them mentally. Our spiritual connection to people is built through a physical connection as well, and that negatively impacts us if we don't have it.
Yeah,
we are a tribal creature.
That's why we're seeing depression and mental health issues explode all over the Western world.
And the destruction of our mental capacity,
yes,
is a destruction. So not only is it damaging us psychologically and mentally, meaning that we are weaker for them to, making it easier for them to enslave.
Yep.
And more closed off to what's going on with them, and more concerned about ourselves. But when we're concerned about ourselves rather than others, that is a negative thing, to be constantly thinking about yourself.
Yes.
that feeds them. The destruction of how we of our person feeds their negative actions, their negative magics that they are doing.
Yeah, I was just about to bring it back to that. You know, selfishness is part of the negative worship. The worship of these negative beings is the selfishness side of things. And the selflessness side of things is more to the light side, to the good deities.
And scarily, this also does hit in with love. Now, we're told, while we are expected that the love we have for a child, the love we have for family, is limitless and just expands the more people we have in that circle. But as a species, historically, we were not monogamous, and we developed deep romantic relationships with more than one person. And why did we do that? We did that because it was actually, we realized in history, before we're being deceived, that having the love for multiple people, it only expands the amount of love you feel. It only, and the compersion of the feeling you get when you see the positive feeling you get when two people that you care for love each other, that feeling is a positive and an altruistic feeling.
And it's also,
if you start talking about the other side with monogamy, that's when you start getting feelings like jealousy, about possession and selfishness and greed. And those are the feelings that come through monogamy in relation to love. And so they've structured society that you are frowned upon to open your heart to more than one. And the reason they do that is because they're limiting love. Because the biggest thing that actually fights against their negativity is actually love.
Now, there's two things I'd like to say.
Love is a positive emotion. Love is a positive emotion.
There's two things I'd like to say. The more love you receive, the more love you can give. That's one. And the second is we are now taught that love is only a chemical imbalance in the brain. That is what they are teaching people. That is what they want to drive into society and drive into the minds of the young. Love is nothing more than a chemical reaction in the brain. Why do you think that is? Because they want to take.
Have you not seen 1984?
Yes, I've read the book. Was one of the first books I ever read was 1984.
And yes, but if you think about it, think what happened. They're not allowed to form romantic attachments. They're not allowed to love.
Because
why is that?
Yeah, because love is an all-powerful emotion, an all-powerful thing, and it's not only is it, like you say, a connection to the physical realm, it's a connection to the spiritual realm as well.
To bring a theological saying in, for God so loved the world that he gave his only son in order to save the world.
To die for our sins.
And to die for us. And then you have Jesus who did it out of love.
You see, there's something just come to me there. It's seen throughout other mythology. The selfless, loving sacrifice
for someone else.
Yeah, we saw it through Greek mythology. We saw it through Roman mythology. It was always there. But then...
Love, while is a positive emotion, it's actually one of the strongest weapons in our arsenal.
Yes, but like we just touched upon, there also is the other side to the coin, which is love can develop hate. If you love something and you see someone else take it away from you, then hate is born. Once Pandora's box is opened, the root of all evil comes out, but the last thing to come out of the box was hope. It's the same sort of conjunction? Is it conjunction? Opposites. Well, opposites will always be.
And hope is another positive.
Yeah, like
positive string to our bow.
Yeah.
And
so
the reason hope came out was, with everything negative that's been come out, we still have hope.
Yes, there is always an opposite, an equal and opposite reaction. There is always the other side of the coin. There always is the reaction to the action.
I think that's probably quite a nice place to stop.
Yeah.
Nice thought of the day and a positive, especially with all the negative we've been talking about.
Yeah, I think that's where we should end the show.
I agree. That was very good. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Thank you everybody for watching live. Hopefully other people are going to watch it as a repeat. And yeah, let us know. Send your comments, send your thoughts. Write upon the page. Let us know what you think. Because the truth is out there. We only need look for it. Thank you and goodbye.
Let the light shine through.
Do do do.